Okay, good morning and welcome to Improving Client Relations with the Virtual Workhorse Team. I'm Maureen Doss, the host of your webinar today. And just a little bit about me. I'm the face, the CEO, and the ambitious mompreneur behind the Virtual Workhorse Team. We are a team of big thinking, knowledgeable, and dependable virtual assistants that come on board in your small business and provide systems, proven systems, and proactive support for you to scale your business. So I am an ambitious mompreneur, as I said, abundant life liver, and a horse lover. Just a little bit of information in case anybody's ever like, where did she get the name of her business? So that's where that comes from. So I have spent almost a decade perfecting a proven system to help others scale. With my team of virtual assistants through streamlined processes, proactive support, and being an end goal visionary. So my why in my business is to live an abundant life and always be present in all that I do, especially with my family. So I created proven systems over the years that I've tested, perfected, assessed, and started all over with that process. And now I like to offer that to my clients so that you can do the same thing, not be stuck in the back end of your business while your kids are tugging on you saying, Mommy, Mommy, when are you going to be done? And you keep repeating in a minute. So I don't want you to be a fibber anymore. I know we say sometimes in a minute, over and over. And so I want you to be able to have the processes in your business, have some automation set up and some streamlined processes. And to be able to say, yes, I'm here for you now, and not worry about the back end of your business falling apart and not having to be the glue in your business. And so today, we're going to talk about improving our client relations. And so what I want you to think about is that you're selling an experience, not necessarily a product or a service. So think of your business like that, and that our job does not end as soon as we receive money, as soon as we're paid. A lot of people think about the process of what they go through as far as discovery calls and converting a lead into a paying customer, but that's not where that process ends. We need to give them a good experience. That's going to help us retain clients, which means more money without the cost of client acquisition, plus receiving more referrals from happy clients. So if you think about your business right now, think about the type of processes that your clients are going through. Is it frustrating to them? What could you do better? What do you always say? I wish I did this, or I wish I sent all of my clients this piece. And are you getting referrals right now from your clients? So think about that for a minute as we dive in. And also good to know, as good business owners, we know that customer retention is more profitable than having to go out and acquire new customers. So the actual percentage is a 5% increase in customer retention. That can increase your sales by 25 to 95% just by giving them a good customer experience. And we're going to talk about like what is the customer experience, what are client relations. We'll go through all of that. And so I want you to ensure that you provide your customer with a fantastic experience. If you were at webinar 2 last week, which was streamlined onboarding, we talked a little bit about having that experience, what that looked like for them, streamlining it so that we could start. That was the start to improving our client relations. And so we'll dive into that a little bit more. Okay, let's see here. All right. So sorry about that. We're going the wrong way here. So if you want to learn how to provide an exceptional experience and increase your profits, then I have a solution for you. And so we're going to dig into that a little bit today. So what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at implementing a simple solution and some automation to improve your client relations. I always like to say simple because especially in the beginning when you're creating processes and creating maybe new processes or implementing something, improving on something that you already have, we want to keep it simple. We can, workflows, client journeys, things like that can get kind of complicated depending on your business. I like to keep it simple, to the point, concise, and clear, for the best client relationship possible. And we will talk about that. So what the heck is client relations? I know I've thrown that word out there several times already, and you're actually here because you want to improve your client relations. So let's really think about what that is. So just a simple overview of a client journey. We're going to start with, when we onboard them, because the whole lead process is another process. But so they've already gone through the lead process. You've got a resounding yes. They're ready to work with you, and you need to onboard them. During that client journey, we need to think about things like nurturing them, personalizing their experience, and offering them some education, some value in your offer and why they're working with you. So those are some things to think about. So customer relations refers to the methods a company uses to engage with its customers and improve the customer experience. So this is going to include providing answers to short-term roadblocks, as well as proactively creating long-term solutions that are geared towards their success. And so when we think about customer relations, we're not only thinking about, one piece of the pie, right? In our customer relationship management, which is a broad term, that encompasses a lot of things like our practices, our processes, our strategies, systems, and the tools that you use to manage it. So within that would be your CRM, which is a platform that literally stands for customer relationship management. Okay. And so it includes having a CRM. That's definitely part of the equation. But it's not the totality of it. Instead, it's a much broader term, and it's going to encompass a whole series of efforts and activities, that come around that customer experience. So we're going to talk about some of those tools, processes, systems, and strategies. So in your relationship with your customer, think about, it's definitely tied to a financial well-being of your business. Building a strong customer relations will develop customer loyalty, retain valuable long-term clients, and increase your revenue for repeat purchases. And so what I want to stick out here is that this, we're creating the foundation. The outcome is going to be your financial well-being of your business. The foundation to that is building strong customer relationships, because we want loyal customers, right? We want to retain our clients. We know, as we've already talked about, how much it's going to cost us to go out and try to get new clients versus retaining the clients that we already have. Therefore, not only, having that customer loyalty is going to create longer term relationships with your clients, thereby, increasing the revenue and having the repeat purchases. So yeah, there's such value in that, not just financially, but as an aspect of what you're providing to your customers. All right. So we've talked about why we need to do it and some of the benefits of why we need to do it, but how do we actually accomplish that is a whole other thing, right? So we want to think about communicating, how we communicate with our clients, not only how, but actually the communication that we're giving our clients, right? We want to think of their needs. We want to provide expertise to them and exceed their expectations. I think that's a huge one that sometimes we forget. We get so caught up in the day-to-day, everyday tasks in our business and moving from one to the other, we almost get in a robotic situation where we're, just putting one foot in front of the other to get things done. And by doing so, those processes can seem broken to our clients. And they're definitely not going to exceed their expectations. And giving them more than they expected is really going to set the bar for them and give them a wonderful client experience. So I always want to think about how can I exceed their expectations? And that's going to come, we'll talk about that in our workflows that we can create. So let's look at a few ways that we can implement these into our strategies, these strategies into some of our processes, okay? So we always, when we're creating these types of things, we always want to create something that's very clear and it's duplicatable for several reasons. We want creating it to be duplicatable is going to make it a consistent process, which is definitely important when we're creating processes that our clients are going to go through. That gives them their expectations of what lays down the expectations of what they can expect from you in working with you. We can look at automating some emails and some scheduling reminders. We always want them to have ease of access to scheduling and a preferred communication avenue. Okay, so we want to make sure that that's clear and upfront. How can they schedule with you? If it's something you're having recurring meetings, schedule those up front with automated reminders and have a clear definition during the onboarding process what their preferred communication avenue is and make sure that is accessible to them and that you're both on the same page. We can look at automating some follow-ups. Automating repetitive tasks such as scheduling meetings, client check-ins, or frequently asked questions that they may have. One way that I like to do a lot of this is through a client portal that's on my CRM that's called Dubsado. And I didn't include anything about my client portal in here, but that just kind of made me think about how for me in my situation with my clients, they all have access to a client portal that includes all of the information that we've shared back and forth, all of our emails, all of our forms, contracts. They can schedule through there. I can include anything that I want to in there. So the welcome packet that I give them is always in there and accessible for them to go through. So that's kind of a nice add-on to have for your client relations. And so let's talk about creating the clear and duplicatable process. So what I want you to think about is actually being able to write out your process. And that's kind of where we start, right? We start with brainstorming and getting it down on some paper. So what we do to create those processes is actually, write it out. We're going to create the process, right? Then we're going to implement it. We're going to assess, and then we're going to start over with what needs to be changed, right? What was the end result of our, assessment? Do we need to change some things? How did that work? And so we'll talk a little bit about how to do that. When I go through that process with my clients, that's something that I do for them. But when it comes to, I've implemented it, we're going to kind of assess it and test it together because I need to know, I'm going to watch it and see how it works, from my perspective, but I also want them to get hands-on experience using the processes that we've set up. How does it work for them, and what do they hear from their clients? So it really is a process in a process. Hopefully that's not confusing. So let's move on to automating emails and reminders. So I really want you to think about some emails that you send in your business, maybe some repetitive emails. I know a lot of reminders we can automate, such as scheduling reminders. And there's so many different ways that we can accomplish all of this. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. Do you have a CRM that does all this for you? Do you have several different systems? And how does that look? How can you implement it either way? Okay, so let's talk about the ease of access to scheduling and the preferred communication avenues. So make sure that your clients can schedule as needed, or that you've got that. In my business, I do have a weekly call with my clients, so we schedule that up front, and the reminders are set. But if it's not a recurring meeting, then, they have access to my scheduler, and are always able to schedule a 30-minute call if needed. Of course, if that were to get excessive or something like that, I might need to change my process. But right now it seems to work fine for me and my clients. And the other thing is that I've really kind of already touched on is the key to establishing the best form of communication for you and them, and be consistent with it. I don't know how many times I've seen, people say this is the best form of communication, but then, we're contacting each other several different ways. And so I'm looking here and here and here, where did they send that to me, or how, and it just is sloppy. It's a broken process. We can lose information. We just, we don't want to risk missing something that our clients need. So, even addressing that if you need to, and saying, hey, is this still the best form? Do we need to move to so-and-so? Or, what is the best way for you to communicate? So being clear up front on that and consistent is the key. So how do we put all of this together now? All right, so let's take a look and see. So this is just an example of my personal system and with my CRM Dubsado. And if you watched webinar 2 or 1, you'll know that my CRM does everything for me. It's a one-stop shop, just about, it handles all my automations. My forms go through there. My scheduling is done in there. And so all of that will come through my CRM. That's okay if you're not using a CRM. I'll also show you how, that flow would look for you. But let's just go through this example. So my CRM is automatically going to send out my onboarding information and my customer intake form. Okay, it's going to gather some information from them that I need. It gives them, my procedures and policies, so they know what to expect from me up front, which is very important in their experience. We want to give them the expectations. A weekly standing meeting is scheduled and set. Mine has 2 reminders, a 24-hour reminder and a 2-hour reminder. Those, depending on what system you're using and how many reminders you want to set, that's all personal. And customizable. So my CRM automatically sends an email with directions for our shared Google file that has already been sent to them, telling them, hey, you received the, shared Google file. This is what it's for, tells them how to use it, what they can put in it. That's also in my onboarding information, the very first step here. So they know to expect that shared file coming to them. All right, so then in our client relations, part of that for me is adding them to my email marketing platform. So mine does it automatically through a Zap. So once they come into my CRM and they move to a certain status, which is depending on which service they're, going with for me, that they are, added to my email marketing platform. And the reason that's included in my client relations is because that's how I give my clients a lot of information and tips that, I may say as we're working together, but I'm not specifically teaching them about. And so it gives them a little bit of added education to, what they're receiving as far as being a client. My monthly invoices are scheduled automatically. If they're recurring, they're going to go out, and I've got 2 payment reminders set up automatically. As far as mine are set for day of and 3 days past due, but that is also customizable. So let's take a look. If you don't have this all in one place, what is that going to look like for you? So what I always recommend, if you're not using an all-in-one or a CRM system where you can kind of do everything in one place, is kind of creating that flow and maybe even a checklist to use when you're onboarding and going through some of these processes. Okay. And so, you can create that in Google Forms or Docs, or even something in your project or task manager. I have similar things in Asana, which is my project manager, that I share with my team. And I also do add my clients to it. Some of them don't care to use it, which is fine. But if they want to see what's going on in the back end of their business and where we're at with given tasks and projects, then they're able to access that to see that. Okay, so when we set those types of things up, what is the end result? So it really sets you up to scale your business. Okay, so our goals are always changing, and there are, some business owners are like, no, this is my goal is just to kind of, have a small income, replace an income that I had before, just pay the bills. And that's totally fine. That's definitely where I started out. But a few years into business, realized that I really wanted to be able to scale. I didn't want to turn down clients. I wanted to continue to grow. And to be able to do that, I really had to start implementing some of these proven systems. And so in order to scale, we've got to do some of this, because right now, where you're at in your business, it may be manageable, right? Your customer relations is manageable. You don't really have a strategy or tools that are helping you, but the more you grow, the harder that's going to be to keep things straight. And so I always tell people the best time to set up those processes, get your business organized, is to do it before you think you really need it, because then you've got time to think, how do I actually want this to look? And you're not in the middle of the fire where business has increased, you're working 12 hours, 15 hours a day. You don't really have time to think, how should this go? You're just really putting fires out daily and, flying by the seat of your pants. So it's really hard to take that time then to create those processes, unless you're going to hire somebody to come in and really take that over for you. That's definitely not going to be something that you're going to want to spend time in trying to create and implement. Okay, so we've already talked about, we know that this is a direct result is going to be to boost our revenue and profitability, right? So, if, we say we're in business, to help people, which, I love helping people, but I definitely have to make a profit, right? We all have to make a living. And so, by increasing and improving our client relations, that's going to be a direct result. So, let's see here. Okay. So We talked about customer loyalty. So what does that look like? 91% of people are more likely to stick with brands that remember them and recognize their preferences. The reason I put that in there is because this is really where the personalization comes in your client relations, right? Making them feel like they are your only client. And so we want to think about that. What do we need to do to make that happen? And how would we want to feel? Put yourself on the other side of your business and go through your process. How was it? Was it simple? Was there ease of use with everything that you had to go through? Or did you have to try several times and have to ask for things? Those are all things to think about and definitely go through to see, how that works for you. And so let me just go back for 1 minute to when we're talking about my CRM, implementing it in, Dubsado versus, we've got an email marketing platform. We don't really have a CRM. We're using a Google Docs or a spreadsheet to keep our client information. And we have a separate scheduler. So what does that look like? Well, what that looks like, we're going to go back to that sheet where I said create the checklist. And so on that checklist, you're going to write out your process and the order that things kind of need to happen. And then you're going to look and see what can you automate. Okay. All right. You've got your Calendly over here for your scheduler. You can automate your reminders and things like that. You can even set up payments in there depending on the Calendly that you're using. Set up the payments through there depending if you have a service that is a paid, they schedule a phone call that is a paid phone call or something like that. All of that can be automated in there. And so basically from there, what you need to look at is what needs to be done next. Is it that we put that client into our email marketing platform and we have an email sequence, an onboarding email sequence in there that's set up as an automation? That can definitely be done. And then we just go from there. What is it from there? Do we need to go ahead and set up their recurring meetings? So even though there's some manual tasks in that process, we can still take a look at it and improve the process and the process. Improving the process is going to improve the client relations. Okay. So I've given you a lot of information in a short period of time. And so, Katie, do you have any questions about anything that I talked about? I know I talk fast and give a lot of information. Or are you just kind of taking it all in?
Yeah, taking it all in because a lot of this is to do with once you've not necessarily just started, but you're in the process of starting and stuff. So having the chat with you afterwards would really help because if I just implement this right now, I could really go a little too deep and confuse myself. So
Right,
this
right.
is
Okay.
really awesome. I'm excited, but this is
Okay.
definitely for later.
Okay. Yes, yes, definitely. Okay, good. It's great to have in your toolbox. Okay, so I just want to go ahead, since we're recording today, I'm going to go ahead and finish my presentation. We talked about, okay, we've learned a lot, especially if you've attended all 3 webinars. We've learned a lot over the past 3 weeks. And I have been super, super excited and humbled to get to teach you guys all of this information. But I really want you to have a way to be able to implement it, not be overwhelmed with thinking, how do I do this? I have this piece, but I'm missing this piece, or I have none of it. Or maybe you don't even have any idea of what you need to do. So right now we have the DIY group. It's DIY it with support. Maybe you're not really a DIY person, but you would like to be able to do it yourself, but you need a little support in a group setting. And that is why I have my my Scalable Systems setup support group. And so right now, just special year-end pricing is $99 a month. And so after the new year, if you sign up now, you're locked in at the $99 a month. But after the new year, the price to come into that group is going to probably at least double. And so with the special year-end pricing, you also get a 1 hour free consultation call with me. Okay. And so this is where you're thinking, you're at the point right now where you're like, okay, I've got all this information. I've learned a lot. How do I put this all together? So don't worry, there's a time and a place for that too, and I've got you covered. So coming in Q1 of 2023 is the Scalable Success System Setup Workshop. Okay, we have a waiting list for that right now going on. I'm only taking 5 people because it's going to be a very in-depth workshop. And so we are going to work together to basically set up your CRM, go through, create those processes, get you into a customizable CRM that is for you and your business. And have those automations, the workflows. We'll have your forms. You'll have a way to have automated emails, invoicing, link to your QuickBooks or do some bookkeeping in the CRM. And so watch for information about that workshop coming up. And you're going to learn my proven system that can help you scale your business while being present in all you do. Okay, so I don't think we have any more questions today. And so I am so thrilled and just humbled that you have joined me. It's so appreciative. And I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that you will take advantage of some of my year-end deals. Some of these offers I'm only offering to you guys that have joined my webinars, the $99 year-end price for the group. I'll be sending out a little bit more information about the group and what all that offers for you, and then information about the waiting list for next year's workshop. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Okay. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Yoshida.
Hi, guys. Hi.